In the area of food and beverage services of the hospitality sector, professional and of high-quality services are just as important as tasteful and freshly prepared food and beverages. For guest pleasure, reflection of the management culture and increase in profits, huge responsibility falls on the employees of the food and beverage industry. With this training program, we will remind you of the role of the employees of the food and beverage sector, who are expected to be hardworking, cautious, smiling, detail-oriented, energetic, and disciplined all the time. As well, there will be a description of your job and what to pay attention during your personal preparation for your job. Later on, we will go into the details of mise en place service, which involves pre-service work. Together, we will learn and remember the basic service techniques, how we serve the guests, how the relationship between employees and the guest needs to be like, how to take a bill and send off the guest, and closing procedures. One of the most important elements of success is team spirit. The employees of food and beverage service work as a team while serving. If you like, we would like to start with remembering the job description of each ring in this chain. On the basis of the international and national vocational standards, the Ministry of Culture and Tourism has prepared national vocational standards for tourism, accommodation and food beverage services with the cooperation of the tourism sector within the scope of a protocol made with Vocational Qualifications Institute in order to define the national qualifications and contribute to the certification process. According to these standards, the fifth level service managers are the responsible staff for preparation of food and beverage policies, ensuring coordination among the kitchen, stewarding service and bar, which are connected to the food and beverage unit, coordination of the employees, making sure all the work in the whole department is done according to the rules and regulations of the management. The fourth level service employees are the ones responsible for coordination between the bar and the restaurant and implementation of all activities within the department. The third level service employees are responsible for implementation of all kinds of cleaning and order of service areas and everything from greeting until sending off of a guest. The second level service employees are the ones responsible for all the cleaning and order in the service area, assisting their superiors during service, and being a liaison between the kitchen and the dining area. The fourth level bar employees are responsible for alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks, hot and cold drinks, preparation and offering of snacks, cleaning and order of the bar. As for the busboys, they are responsible for preparing the bar for service, cleaning of the bar, and all the duties their superior gives them. The feast banquet director is responsible for all the feasts, invitations, meetings, and congregations that are held at the hotel. In the hospitality services, different uniforms are worn in order to show which level and section of service an employee belongs to. As a service employee, we need to make sure that the uniforms are clean and ironed, and the shoes are rubber-soled, low-heeled, shine, and clean. A clean uniform and items that we might need, such as a needle, thread, and a shoe polish, should be kept in your lockers all the time. We should have matches, pen, order book, service napkin, corkscrew, crumb collector, comb, and napkin on you. However, we should carry them in a way that they don't bulge in our pockets. Towels used for serving hot plates should be hung from our left arm, and when not in use, they should never be put in pockets. For personal maintenance, we should have a comb and napkin. In the food and beverage service area, hygiene and sanitation of the staff, service area, and food is extremely important. As employees, we need to pay attention to the cleanliness of our body, hand, mouth, and nose, and to our hair and skin care. During the work hours, we should not overdo makeup and should not wear any jewelry except wedding ring and watch. We should make sure to wear a clean and ironed uniform. The service areas should be cleaned regularly, the floors should be kept clean and dry, and the tools you used should be rinsed in high temperatures and dried after washed. We should use separate bins for trash. We should pay attention to the cleanliness of the service tables and do not clean the tables with dirty cloths. Never use any cracked or chipped service items. In order to eliminate bacterial growth, do not keep the food and beverages between 5 and 65 degrees Celsius and serve them as soon as they are prepared. Cold foods should be kept in a cold environment until they are served, and hot foods kept at 65 degrees or above. Leftover and spilled foods must be cleaned right away, and foods shouldn't be held with bare hands. Always use tongs or service napkins for service. For service, the usage of items such as glassware, porcelain, fabric, metal, and other materials has utmost importance. Restaurant items should be used in accordance with their purpose and should be used carefully in order not to damage them. We shouldn't use cracked or chipped glass or porcelain items, and we should take measures against cracks and breaks. We should hold and leave these items properly. Glasses should be stored upside down on trays or on shelves and shouldn't be used putting one on top of another. We should consider hygiene rules while using all the items. We should be careful not to fold fabrics after using and always replacing the old items with new ones. We need to have sufficient amount of stock, and we should take precautions against dust for storage. When using porcelain items, be careful in order to prevent breakage. Don't stack the plates on top of each other if they don't have the same shape. Each set should be used with its own plate and lid. Then, how do we carry the plates? Full plates should be carried straight without touching the food, and they should be held flat and secure. We should put the plates on the table from the right of the guest. Do remember that we should put and take away the salad and bread dishes from the left of the guest. In order not to burn our hands, don't forget to use service towels when holding hot plates. Removing plates requires just as much attentiveness as serving them. First, we need to make sure that the guests have finished their meal, and then, after politely asking the guests if they will carry on, take the plate without disturbing the guest and clear off the plates out of the guest's view. After the main course and just before the dessert, don't forget to clean the crumbs from the table, either with a clean cloth or crumb device. When clearing off the dishes, take only as much as you can carry at one time. We should carry dirty dishes to service tables and trays and kitchen counter as the same sorts placed on top of another, and during sorting the dishes, try not to make noise. We should carry the tray with our left hand in balance and should keep a napkin on the tray in order for items not to slip off. Place heavy and long items in the middle of the tray while the rest is placed in outer spaces in balance. Light and small trays can be carried on our fingers, the ones with medium weight on the palm and arm, and the heavy ones on palm and arm with help of the other hand. We should bend our knees when lifting or putting down heavy trays. We shouldn't lean the tray against our body. It should be carried at shoulder or chest level. We should always carry the glasses on a service plate or on trays. The only time we can carry the glasses with our hands is when we are preparing service. Spice utensils should be stored in appropriate places when not in use, and they should be clean, polished and filled before use. When setting the table, salt and pepper should be the only spices at the table. The others should be brought on request. Spice utensils should be dried with a cloth that doesn't leave any lint and spots behind and should never be filled when they are damp. Now, let us take a look at preparation of the temporary service, such as main service, moving service, and garritons. All service should have the capacity to answer the general needs, and the plan of placing tools and equipment should be exactly the same for all of the servants. Service should always be clean and organized. Service vehicles should be cleaned and polished before tools and equipment are placed. If we are using a heater that uses fuels, we should not forget to refill it. If there is hot and cold elements, we should prepare them close to the time of service. Service vehicles shouldn't be pulled, they should be pushed in the direction you go. And napkins. The size of napkins changes according to usage. Tea, food, and service napkins must always be clean, starched, and pressed. We have to be sure that our hands are clean when folding napkins. We shouldn't fold used napkins. Setting a tablecloth requires the same kind of discretion. Before you put the tablecloth over, you need to make sure that the table is steady. We should pick a tablecloth which is clean and proper sized and is not ripped. We should also pick a fleece cover cloth. When laying the tablecloth, you need to be careful with iron marks. On square tables, iron marks should go parallel to the sides of the table, and the middle line should be in the middle of the table. For feast tables and long tables, one tablecloth should be spread over another tablecloth opposing the door. So far, we have learned how to use materials to give excellent service. Now it's time for table services in different types of service plates. If you have put the tables in their places before opening the service, have put the tablecloths on the tables, have placed the chairs as they touch the hems of the tablecloth, have put the service dishes about a finger's length from the edge of the table, centering the chair, have set the dishes as their angles facing 12 o'clock, have placed the forks, knives and spoons on both sides of the plates as the ones used with the right hand on the right side and the ones used with the left hand on the left side, and, as their ends are finger's length from the edge of the table, have placed the forks pointing up and the knives as their sharp side facing the service plate. That means you have successfully completed the preliminary work of an excellent service. What needs to be on the table will vary according to the kind of setting you're serving. Now, let's have a look at different kinds of settings and the attentiveness they require. If we are preparing an a la carte setting, a tablecloth, a service plate, a napkin, a large fork, a knife, a bread plate, butter knives, a water glass, a seasoning set, a vase, and a chandelier can be found on the table according to the principles of the enterprise. If we are preparing a table d'hôte setting, there could be found a tablecloth, a service plate, a napkin, an appropriate fork, knife, and spoon set, a water glass, a seasoning set, a vase, and a chandelier on the table according to the principles of the enterprise. While you are preparing the setting, you should not forget to place the fork, knife, and spoon set that is going to be used first to the outward. The fork, knife, and spoon set that is going to be used lastly to the inward. In other words, you should prepare the setting inside-out flow. In order not to encounter any problems during the feast, the best thing for a supervisor to do is to set up a sample setting and show it to the service staff. Reservation of banquet feasts should be made in a written agreement by filling up reservation form in advance.